NASA knows a secret about you. The U.S. government has a secret about you. The elite have a secret about you. There's a reason that black cells are literally in outer space. Your royal DNA cellular bloodline is filled with the God particle, but it lies dormant within you. Beloved, my name is Vicky Dillard. I received supernatural insight concerning your messenger DNA code from a supernatural messenger. If you're not supernatural, this isn't for you, but if it's for you, you don't want to miss my ancestral messenger DNA code activation part 2 on the most magical date of the year. Don't miss it. The link is below. Signs and wonders follow. Don't miss it. 12/12/21 is your day to ascend into your God particle.
Well, we all got to see that all three murderers, and I will call them that, were convicted last week in their trial for basically lynching Ahmaud Arbery. So that's definitely a good thing. Now, these particular white supremacists, and yes, I will say white supremacists because they would not allow all their racism to be brought into the trial. So even though people are saying, oh, the judge stopped them from doing this and the third, no, the judge didn't really allow a lot of things in too, right? Because if you are white supremacist, then people need to know that, especially when you kill a black person and you have these sentiments against them. But the jury did the right thing. Now, they were convicted, and they are the only ones that's supposed to be facing some prison time for the February 2020 murder. Now, former Georgia District Attorney Jackie Johnson was arrested for her role in delaying justice for Ahmaud Arbery, who was chased and killed while running through a mostly white neighborhood near Brunswick, Georgia. And y'all have to understand about Georgia. Outside of places like Atlanta, you have a lot of them racists out there in Georgia. Trust me. Now, according to the grand jury indictment, Johnson violated her oath by showing favor and affection to Gregory McMichael and failing to treat Arbery and his family fairly and with dignity. It also says she obstructed police by directing that Travis McMichael should not be placed under arrest. Johnson also lost her re-election bid last November because of the Arbery case, and that is good. They say it took more than 2 months after Arbery's killing for arrests to be made. His family and supporters have called for Johnson to be penalized for what she did. And now Lee Merritt says she should spend time in prison. He said her actions are not just acts of negligence, but she actually worked to cover up the murder. And that's exactly what she did. And that happens all the time in this country. Now, Gregory McMichael had worked in Johnson's office in Glenn County as an investigator up to 2019 and was a former police officer. Now, McMichael reportedly called Johnson after the murder, leaving a message seeking advice. He said, Jackie, this is Greg. Could you call me as soon as you can? It said, it's inaudible, and I were involved in the shooting, and I need some advice right away. Could you please call me as soon as you possibly can? He said, thanks, bye. Now, Johnson has denied any wrongdoing, saying she recused her office from the case immediately because of her relationship with McMichael. She's a freaking lies because she was getting caught. Now, Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr launched a grand jury in Georgia Bureau investigation and say into her actions. Carr announced the indictment on September the 2nd. Now, Johnson was arrested for violation of oath of public officer and obstruction and hindering law enforcement officer on September the 8th. She was released on a $10,000 bond. She will face 1 to 5 years if convicted for violating her oath and up to 1 year in prison for hindering law enforcement. Now, Ahmaud Arbery's mom said, it was a huge win, is what she said. She said she's speechless. She said, unfortunately, Ahmaud is not here with us anymore, but losing Ahmaud will change some things here in the state of Georgia. They say the GBI is also investigating another former top law enforcement official's mishandling of the Arbery case. It's a Waycross District Attorney George Barnhill. As they told the Glenn County Police Department, there was insufficient probable cause to issue arrest warrants for the men accused in his killing because they was attempting to detain Arbery for a citizen's arrest. Now, Barnhill recused himself from the case after facing pressure from Arbery's mother. They said Barnhill's son had worked in Johnson's office, it said, with Gregory McMichael. So this case a lot of pressure was applied. Understand? You remember the photos they were showing of the brothers showing up, with, their, firearms, and they was patrolling the neighborhood, and they was going to be out there too. And you remember how the community just really started homing in about this case, and they didn't want to bring that energy to their town, what was happening about George Floyd and the different things that was going on at that time period. So let me tell y'all something. Y'all can make elected officials do their job. Y'all can also make the police do their job. Have y'all not seen that when applying pressure, they do their job? Have you noticed that every time we've gotten them to do their job or get people arrested or even get people convicted, notice we didn't go to no voting booth to do it. Have you noticed that? We didn't look to no Democrat. We didn't look to no Republican. We said, hey, do what you're supposed to do, or we're going to bring that energy to you. We're going to show up at your doorstep if we got to. And brothers and sisters start pulling up to all these different people's houses. See, they didn't like that tactic. See, when you was in the street blocking a highway, that's one thing. But when you actually go into their house, oh, now you really set a different precedent now of what you got going on. This is why I try to tell our community, we don't need no politician to do nothing for us. We could do it ourselves. Understand? How is it all of a sudden people getting arrested? How all of a sudden people going to jail now? It's because we apply the pressure. The more you listen to these silly black folks in our community that's telling you don't do nothing, just vote, that's people that's enemies to our community. We have seen time and time again, about to be 10 years, I've been doing news. And I have seen that when we as a community apply pressure, something happens. Always. Laws start getting changed. DAs start getting voted out. New ones start getting put in. Police start going to prison. It's when we start applying pressure. And since we know that works, we need to keep doing it. You don't pull back when you get like a victory. That's supposed to fuel you even more. You understand what I'm saying? You want to say, okay, this is the result of us applying pressure. So now we're going to keep that pressure up and we're going to apply more pressure to get everything that we need in this country. Nobody's going to give black folks anything by just saying, could you please give us something? They only respond to when the black community applies collective pressure. Notice I said collective pressure. That is the way forward for us, is to apply collective pressure on politicians, law enforcement, jobs that's out there that's not doing right by the people, like the banking industry. No matter what industry it is, if we apply pressure, they fold. They can't take pressure like that. I've seen it too many times. It don't take long for them to fold. They don't like it. Hell, they don't like following no rules even right now when it comes to the virus. They're losing their mind about that. And unfortunately, some black folks have fell in that with them. Like you gonna get away with what they get away with. Collective pressure is what works, folks. It's what works. Collective pressure. You voting for Democrat, you voting for Republican, that's never going to work because they got you in the maze like that. They got you running in circles, no matter what party it is. But when you can apply collective pressure and you say, no, this is what you're going to do, and you're not going to do that, we got a response to it. That's how you move forward here in America, Black America, for sure. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about, what happened here, because the community made sure this happened. It wasn't them. It was that pressure that was applied.
Living in America as a black person, you recognize there is one set of laws for you and one set of laws for those, especially in the white community. In our book, Passive Aggressive Racism in the System of White Supremacy, I take you through times in my life when I first started noticing white supremacy. We teach you how to recognize it, identify it, and also counter it in our book. This book is a beginner's course for those that are just starting to wake up and open their eyes to see the system of white supremacy. As a black American person, you must understand this system because this system is life or death to you. How you handle it, how you deal with it, it can affect your mental health if you don't understand this system. Pick up our book, Passive Aggressive Racism and the System of White Supremacy, today on Amazon.